Welcome to Gamma Radio with your host, Gil Mancha. This is my chronological discussion of the strongest one there is, The Incredible Hulk. Disclaimer, I will be actively getting and collecting issues as we go, and I'm trying to only cover issues that I have a physical copy of or are in a collected edition. I'm going to try to stray away from digital because I love physical media, but the Marvel Unlimited app would be a great way to keep up with the podcast. We'll of course start with his original self-titled comic. There's a few others, some TV shows, movies, and even video games we can discuss, and trust me, I'd love to discuss those games down the line. Be sure to hit the follow button on Spotify or preferred platform to get episodes as soon as they drop. While you're there, please leave a review so the show can be recommended to other comic book fans. Correction from last week. Issue 4 was released on September 4th, 1962. In today's episode, the issue we're covering once again has two different stories in one. The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, Issue 5, Beauty and the Beast, and The Hordes of General Fang. This issue was released on November 1st, 1962. Links will be in the podcast notes. Let's take a look back at what else was happening that day in history.
Duck and cover, sports fans. He's hulking out.
The best-selling single in the US was He's a Rebel by the Crystals, and in the UK was Telstar by the Tornadoes. The top of the box office was The Longest Day. Children and teens were watching shows like Leave It to Beaver, Noggin the Nog, Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse, and King Leonardo and His Short Subjects. If you're a child, you're likely to be playing with toys like Fisher-Price Little People, Astro Base, Etch-a-Sketch, and Chatter Telephone. We went over all this information in the last episode, so since you're keeping up with the podcast, you already know all about it. If you're familiar with either songs or top movie, let me know. On the Spotify app, there's now a comment section. You can do it there or social media. That's a taste of what the world was like when The Incredible Hulk Issue 5 was released.
Ow, I hurt myself changing this tire.
I'm reading this thanks to Marvel Epic Collection Incredible Hulk Volume 1 Man or Monster, but it's also available via Marvel Masterworks Incredible Hulk Volume 1, Mighty Marvel Masterworks The Incredible Hulk Volume 1, The Green Goliath, and honestly several others, but those are probably the best to buy physically. If you prefer a black and white style, then Essential Series The Incredible Hulk Volume 1 works, but that series has ended, so you'll have to go to another from where it ends if you want to keep reading Hulk comics. Both stories were written and edited by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Dick Ayers, and The Beauty and the Beast was lettered by Artie Simek. I couldn't find the letterer for The Hordes of General Fang, and colorist was uncredited. This cover shows Hulk busting through a wall into a castle with Rick running away and Betty looking on in shocked awe. In the background, we see a Roman emperor-looking man say to several armored soldiers with multiple types of melee weapons going down a flight of stairs, "Slay the monster in the name of Tyrannus, the Mighty." The background is gray with bricks and the ground is kind of beige. Under the Hulk title is a blue box that says, "More powerful, more dangerous, more uncontrollable than ever before. Here comes the Hulk." At the bottom right is another blue box that says, "Two great Hulk thrillers featuring Beauty and the Beast." Notably, this cover is used as the cover for The Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Volume 1 Man or Monster that I'm actually using to cover this issue. Unfortunately, there's no About This Issue section in the Marvel Unlimited app for this issue. After the break, we'll summarize the issue. What it do, guys? Manjame here, and if you like board games, especially deck-building games, you should check out Team_Thunder on YouTube. There we have unboxings and games of Legendary and Marvel deck building game, the DC deck building game, the Transformers deck building game, and many more. That's also where you can find VODs for this, Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast, and Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast, where you can directly leave a comment and we can discuss the issues.
No, not the Hulk. Not now.
The Incredible Hulk, Beauty and the Beast. We have a full image of Tyrannus standing with his fists up in the air, with ceremonial fire pits on his left and right, and bald, white-eyed subjects behind him that are only clad in a white cloth skirt. To the left of his head is a white circle with an image of Miss Betty Ross, and to the right is a white circle with the image of the Incredible Hulk. Our tale begins with a showing of top secret army films in the home of General Thunderbolt Ross, chief of the Western Hemisphere Defense Command. This is done via projector, and his audience seems to be Bruce, Betty, and Rick. Ross says. There he is, the demonical Hulk. 3 brave men risked their lives to get these pictures. The picture shown is one where it looks like the Hulk might be putting up his arm to reach out to grab the camera. Ross continues and explains that in the photos, this shows our failure to trap the brutal monster by means of a giant, specially constructed neuron magnet designed to attract and hold living beings. The Hulk's superhuman strength enabled him to smash the magnet just when we thought we had him. We see a photo of Hulk pushing a building over. As further evidence of the Hulk's unbelievable strength, a freelance photographer took this film with a telephoto lens from a safe distance away. Then we see the Hulk reaching out to catch a cone-shaped missile. And this is the most incredible of all. The only film in existence which shows in livid detail Hulk catches it and it explodes. The Hulk's ability to survive any explosion short of an actual atomic device. Ross then goes up to Bruce, who's looking nonchalant, the general says. That's what I'm up against. It's my job to catch that rampaging monster, no matter how powerful he is. This government wants him stopped. But I can't do it by military means alone, Banner. I need scientific help, and that's where you come in. As top scientist on my staff, you've got to think of a way to conquer that man-beast. As Bruce and Rick are about to leave, the dog shakes the general's hand and says, "Can't make any promises, sir, but Rick and I will do our best to think of something." Ross responds, "Rick? Bah. I can't see why you insist on having that insolent teenager as your assistant." Betty tells her father, "Oh, Dad, don't be so grumpy. You know the Defense Department has given Bruce the right to select any aides he chooses." Once the doctor and teen have left, the Rosses look out the window. Ross says, "I know how you feel about Bruce Banner, Betty dear, but somehow, I still don't entirely trust that man. He's too close-mouthed, too secretive." She responds, "But he has to be, Dad. He works on top-secret weapons planning, and he's answerable only to the President himself." Unable to meet with her, he says, "I'm a soldier and I obey orders. But that man rubs me the wrong way," she thinks. As for me, must I always keep my secret locked within me, afraid to admit to Dad that I'm in love with Bruce, and afraid to face the fact that he doesn't even know I exist? At that very moment, many miles beneath the surface of the earth, a strange, brooding man watches Betty Ross through a secret viewing device, a man known only as Tyrannus. He's sitting in his throne watching her through a crystal ball. She loves Bruce Banner. Little does she dream that her very love will be the weapon with which I shall conquer the surface of Earth. Then it's shown he's left his throne and is walking through his underground lair with the bald subjects from the first page following him. The time has come, after centuries of waiting, of planning, of being a prisoner here in the depths of the earth. The time has come for Tyrannus to strike. He passes a subject who bows to him. "Hail, Tyrannus! What is your command, O mighty master?" Tyrannus stops at a body of water. "First, I must again sip the water from the fountain of youth, the eternal liquid for which Ponce de Leon vainly searched, never dreaming it was hidden many leagues beneath his feet." He takes a drink from his chalice. "Though I was banished to the center of the earth centuries ago by the accursed Merlin the magician, this magic elixir has kept me alive and young all these years, while I plan my revenge upon mankind." Another subject bows to him. Tyrannus drinks the potion. Great is Tyrannus. Bow down to the all-powerful Tyrannus. Then we see him on a chariot podium with a metal galea with a plume.
Gamma wave!
A galea is a Roman soldier's metal helmet. Plume is decorative, typically made of horsehair, and was often dyed red and was used by officers like centurions to distinguish their rank.
Gamma tsunami!
In the background, we see giant futuristic tanks with lasers and many armed soldiers march by. Tyrannus continues, "Little did Merlin suspect that I would find a race of creatures here, obedient slaves that would do my bidding. With your knowledge of science and your desire to serve me, you have created the mightiest weapons ever dreamed of, and now the time has come." Close up on him making a fist. "I have been fearful of one thing, the armed atomic might of the land called America. But I shall use Betty Ross to protect me from that might." Meanwhile, not suspecting what fate has in store for them, Bruce Banner and Rick return to the general's home the next day. Rick says, "Man, what a gasser. Imagine old Thunderbolt Ross ordering you to capture yourself." Bruce adds, "He doesn't suspect that I myself am the Hulk, Rick, and I pray he never finds out." Close up of them in the car. "If only mankind didn't fear the Hulk. If only they would trust him so that I could reveal my secret." Rick responds, Trust the Hulk. Listen, Daddy-O, I know your secret, and I still tremble when I see him. Then after reaching the General's house, Betty greets them with a familiar man. Sorry, Bruce, Dad isn't here yet, but may I introduce Mr. Tyrannus? He is an archaeologist. I'm going to show him the cliff caves nearby, Bruce answers. Oh? While she's distracted with Tyrannus, Rick whispers to Bruce, "'S the matter, Bruce? What's bugging you?" He answers, "Just a feeling, kid. I don't like his looks." While Tyrannus is smiling at her, Betty thinks, It's working. Bruce looks so jealous. I'm so glad I met Mr. Tyrannus. Maybe this will make Bruce think of me as a woman. Minutes later, we see Bruce and Rick get to the outside of the cave. Bruce says, "It doesn't sit right with me, Rick. Why would an archaeologist need a local girl to show him the caves? Their tracks lead in there." Rick responds, "This is for the birds, pal. Who wants to follow a couple of cave lovers around?"
Gamma wave!
For the birds means something that is worthless, silly, or unimportant.
Gamma tsunami!
They get to a blocked entrance. Bruce says, "Another thing, why didn't Tyrannus have any archaeological equipment with him? Rick, look at that." Rick answers, putting his hand on the blockage. "How'd they get past this giant boulder? We can't budge it, and yet their tracks lead past it." "How?" Bruce answers. "That's what we're going to find out. With the help of someone who can budge it. Quick, back to the lab." Meanwhile, on the other side of the boulder, we see Betty and Tyrannus in a gray vehicle. She says, "I don't understand this machine. What is it? Where did it come from? Where are we going? You're no stranger here." He answers, "Stranger? Of course I am no stranger. This is my kingdom, my domain. You are about to see wonders you have never dreamed of before." He turns a dial and the image of General Ross's face shows up. "See how I can observe anyone on the surface by the flick of a switch. There is your father, worrying about you, as I knew he would be. And by turning another switch, I can even make him see us." A holographic image of Tyrannus and Betty show up in front of Ross. "General, your daughter is my prisoner. If you value her safety, you will promise not to defy me when my legions attack your surface world. I will contact you again for your answer. This is Tyrannus, the Supreme One." While the vehicle they're in is rolling up an underground cliff, Betty says, You must be mad." He responds, "Silence, woman. I was a brilliant master of black magic 1,000 years before you were born." Meanwhile, as Tyrannus takes his bewildered prisoner deeper into the bowels of the earth, the most powerful creature of all leaps towards the entrance cave. Rick is riding what looks like a flying Hulk whose arms are spread wide like a bird. "Hulk, look! The rock is gone," Hulk says. "Shut up, kid. I got eyes, ain't I?" Once they land, Hulk says, "That bushy-haired grinning ape is in there somewhere with Betty Ross, and I'm gonna find him. So get lost, kid. I got things to do." Shocked, Rick says, "No, Hulk, you gotta let me go with you." They make their way to the cave to see Tyrannus carrying Betty into a machine. Hulk says, "There he is. Hold on, Buster. You ain't going anywhere." Tyrannus answers, "The man-monster. You're too late to stop me now." He gets into the ship and they take off, but Hulk is able to grab onto its legs with Rick holding on to Hulk's waist. "Hulk, what's happening? Where are we going?" "What does it look like, dumbhead? He's heading to the center of the earth, and we're going too." No sooner does a strange machine reach its destination, and the Incredible Hulk tears it apart as though it were cardboard. From the top of the machine, Hulk is looking around. Where is he? Let me at him! Leaving through the doorway he went in, Tyrannus is holding Betty, who says, "The Hulk!" Tyrannus gets to a futuristic machine and turns a valve on the machine with several vents. "I was prepared for such an eventuality. This volcanic gas will take the fight out of him." Gas is emitted from the vents that fills the area, obscuring Hulk and Rick's view. From in the gas, Hulk says, "Hey, what is this? I can't see. Can't breathe." "Hulk, it's gas. The one thing your strength can't help against." Rick covers his face with his hands and Hulk tries ramming into a wall. "Getting weaker. Everything's spinning, but it won't stop me. Gotta get my hands on Tyrannus. Betty needs me. Gotta keep trying. Trying. Hulk passes out and so does Rick. The next sound the Hulk hears is the two on the floor waking up. Rick says, "Hulk, wake up. You gotta wake up. We're in some kind of cell." He responds, "I'm awake, but weak. Can hardly move. Need rest. More rest." Looking from Hulk's perspective, we see Tyrannus standing above them with a minion behind him. "So, the dreaded Hulk lies helpless as a babe. Rest you need? You shall get none here. On your feet, slave." He points down at them. "Within moments the effects of the gas will wear off, but even with your strength returned, you will still obey me." For the girl is my prisoner, so as long as I am her captor, you are my slave. Skip to a scene of Tyrannus' minions putting gladiator armor on the Hulk. Rick asks, Hulk, what are they doing to you? You can't let them. Don't do it. He answers, climb up, Junior. If I try to make like a hero, it'll be curtains for Betty Ross. Then while holding a shield and wielding some kind of club, he walks to an arena with Rick still following. Why did they give you that asbestos shield? Where are you going? Who cares? I ain't gonna waste time worrying. Now in a Roman stadium, from the background Tyrannus yells, ha! Now for some sport. Now to test the mettle of the Hulk. Let us see what his much vaulted strength can do against my mightiest fire-breathing warrior. In the foreground, we see Hulk dodge rolling from a battle robot stream of fire. Ugh. Lying on the ground, he's blocking fire with a shield. So this is why they gave me a fireproof shield, huh? Well, I might as well find out what this other gizmo does too. He springs up, his helmet falling off. From the stick, which now looks like a flashlight, a ray comes out. Alright, you walking scrap pile, here's something right back at ya. We see the robot spinning its arms in circles. Big deal, it's some kind of stun gun. I could do just as good with one of my fists. But suddenly, the mechanical gladiator makes an unexpected move. It stops spinning and extends an arm out to give Hulk an uppercut that knocks him off his feet and forces him to drop the gun stick. Yaff! Hulk tries rushing the gladiator. You got all kinds of tricky little gadgets, huh? Well, just wait till oof! The gladiator leaned back with its chest and released a battering ram whose tip is shaped like a ram's head. Wham! Cables come out of its waist and start to wrap around one of the Hulk's legs and his arm. Hulk says, you gotta run out of steam sooner or later, and when you do, ha! Now I got that steel control cable of yours. Didn't expect me to take it out, did ya? Now he's free from restraints. Alright, Tin Man, now it's my turn. Close in on the Hulk's face. As the Hulk advances upon his mechanical foe, all else is forgotten save the brutal love of battle. The part of his personality which is still Bruce Banner is almost gone, and for that brief instant of red-hot rage, only the bestial, unhuman engine of destruction stands in his place. This'll take care of you. He punches the gladiator, causing it to burst into pieces. But I ain't stopping here. He walks up and pulls off the wall in front of the arena Tyrannus is standing at. I still got a score to settle with Tyrannus. Panicking, he tells Hulk, Stop, you brainless gargoyle. He pulls out a gun and points it back at Betty. You have forgotten the girl. Take another step and I fire. We see Hulk's hand as he's climbing up to them. No. Don't hurt her. Tyrannus turns the gun and shoots Hulk, setting him falling back. I didn't intend to. I just needed time to aim my paralyzer gun at you. Then we see Tyrannus' men carrying an unconscious Hulk with Rick hiding and thinking, Tyrannus forgot about me. Guess I'm not important enough for him to worry about, but I gotta find a way to free the Hulk, or it'll be curtains for all of us. Like a stolid.
Gamma wave!
Stolid means calm, dependable, and showing little emotion or animation.
Gamma tsunami!
Helpless beast of burden. The Hulk is put to work as a slave laborer of the triumphant Tyrannus. We see Hulk pulling a cart holding a sphinx with Tyrannus' head. The driver has a whip and commands Hulk, faster, you clod, faster, I say. Like the legendary labors of Hercules, no task is too menial, no feat too impossible for the mighty Hulk. We see Hulk standing and gushing water as the Hulk pushes something to block it. Must dam the flood. Must do it, for Betty's sake. Some time passes because we see Hulk having collapsed and trying to get back up. One of Tyrannus' followers says, You must not stop yet. Tyrannus commanded you to drive all these posts into the ground with your fists. Another adds, You haven't done 1,000 of them. There are still 500 more. Hulk tries to catch his breath. Must not fail. Must keep working. Can't let Tyrannus beat me. And what of the man called Tyrannus? While in his throne room, he says, I no longer find the Hulk's labors amusing. I go now to order his doom. Betty puts her hand over her mouth in shock. No sooner does the heartless Tyrannus leave the chamber than a steel-helmeted figure imperiously enters. Praise Tyrannus, I have been ordered to bring the girl to him. Betty panics. Oh no. No! As the two run off, he says, That's it, keep screaming. Make it look good. This is a 1 in a million gamble, but it has to work. Still running along, she says, What? Who are you? What do you mean? They get to a stop and the man removes the armor and helmet, revealing it's Rick. Relieved, Betty says, Oh, I should have guessed. It's you. Were you expecting maybe Chubby Checker? Knock off the dumb remarks and let's move. Tyrannus has ordered his goons to get rid of the Hulk. They get to the Hulk's cell. Rick calls out to the Hulk. Hulk, get up. Did you hear me? Get up. Hulk wearily responds. Go away. Can't do anything. Can't take a chance of him harming Betty Ross. Betty chimes in. No, Hulk, no. I'm safe. You must save yourself. Hurry. She turns and points to the soldiers coming their way. They're coming for you now. You must fight back. It's your only chance. It's our only chance. Hulk answers her. You're safe. The soldiers go past the pair outside the cell. Step aside, female. We're here for the Hulk. Rick calls out, now, Hulk, now. Hulk bursts through the wall, tackling the men. She's safe. I don't have to worry about her. This is what I've been waiting for. Get out of my way. All of you. The three start to make their getaway. Hulk says, ha, did you see him run like whipped curs? And that's only the beginning. Rick, holding on to Hulk's right shoulder, says, maybe so, but we ain't out of this yet. Betty, holding on to his left shoulder, says, Tyrannus will never let us escape. They get to a pathway surrounded by pillars. Hulk tells the two, Tyrannus better start worrying about himself. You two get over there, fast. The two run in the opposite direction as Tyrannus and his men find the group. The Hulk is free, incompetent fools. You'll pay with your lives if you do not catch him. Obey me, obey your master. Standing between the pillars, with hands on each side, Hulk says, you're through giving orders, big man. This is where I lower the boom.
Gamma wave!
Lower the boom means to punish someone severely, to scold them harshly, or to deal with them forcefully.
Gamma tsunami!
Tyrannus pleads, you're mad. What are you doing? Stop. It's impossible. You can't topple those pillars. I can, huh? Just watch me. Hulk pushes and the pillars start to crumble. Tyrannus doesn't take it well. No, you'll seal me in here. I'll never reach the surface again. Stop. Don't. I'll give you anything. Anything. Not interested, Hulk tells him. Too late, Tyrannus. This is your finish. The pillars finish crumbling, falling like a rain of boulders. Baroom! Minutes later, three weary figures reach the subsurface escape capsule, which rests on the other side of the debacle. From outside the capsule, Rick's trying to help Hulk get in. Betty's already safe inside, Hulk. Gosh, I never thought even you could have pulled off a stunt like that. Hulk responds, ain't nothing I can't do, Squirt. Don't ever forget it. As they travel back to the surface, the two continue to talk. Rick says, Betty's in a state of shock, Hulk. She doesn't even remember anything that happened down there. It's some kind of amnesia. Just my luck. That means she'll still hate me and fear me when we reach the surface. But who cares? I don't need her. The last panel just shows their three heads with Hulk speaking. Let her fear me. Let them all fear me. Maybe they got good reason to, because they're only humans. But I'm the Hulk. The end.
One more!
Part 2. The Incredible Hulk versus the Hordes of General Fang. Half man, half monster, the Incredible Hulk noiselessly springs over unsuspecting towns as his unbelievably powerful legs propel his awesome form vast distances through a series of powerful leaps. At sunrise, we see the Hulk making giant leaps away from the city to the surrounding mountainside area. He thinks, gotta exercise this way once a week so I don't end up being a muscle-bound creep.
Gamma wave!
Being muscle-bound is the idea that guys with large muscles are bound, or in other words, their large muscles prevent them from being athletic. Here, Hulk is stretching his muscles to keep his flexibility.
Gamma tsunami!
But listening devices far more sensitive than human ears detect the careening figure and Sentinel 4 to HQ, Hulk sighted, heading for missile area. A soldier with a walkie-talkie says to Ross, your patience is going to pay off, General. The Hulk is approaching. Ross is holding a pair of binoculars in one hand and pointing toward the missile with the other. I knew he had to pass through this way sooner or later. Prepare to activate the iceberg rocket. Hiding behind a contraption, Rick thinks, good thing I talked General Ross into letting me hang around this area. I've got to warn the Hulk. Ross continues, you won't escape me again, Hulk. My iceberg missile will be your undoing. Just wait. So intent is General Thunderbolt Ross upon his mission that he doesn't notice the teenage figure of Rick Jones racing frantically away. He thinks, the Hulk must be heading for our hideout. He doesn't suspect that General Ross has a new missile waiting to clobber him. He sees the Hulk and stops. There he is! He starts frantically waving his arms to get his attention. Go back, Hulk! Back! Hulk keeps jumping. Too late. He doesn't see or hear me. Then, at that split second, the rocket is fired. A rocket designed for only one purpose, to destroy the Hulk. The front pod drops the initial thrusters. Then, when it meets the Hulk, it loses its cover. Mid-air, Hulk says, what's going on? That missile's homing in on me. Hey, it shot off some kind of foam. Instantaneously, the foam solidifies into rock-hard ice, and the massive form of the Hulk is trapped within the frozen chunk. As it and the Hulk are falling, Ross with several army men in a military car race to where they'll land. We got him. Hurry. Get to the point of impact. Faster. Drive faster. One of the army men thinks. What a feather in old Thunderbolt's cap this'll be. He'll probably get another star for catching the Hulk. But even the most carefully laid plans can misfire. One thing Thunderbolt Ross did not take into consideration was the intense body heat of the captive Hulk. For, like an atomic pile, when the Hulk expends his almost limitless energy and power, his temperature rises to an unimaginable degree. He thinks, ice is beginning to melt. And by the time the astonished pursuers reach their goal, Ross says, he's free, get him, before he can leap away. Hulk gets up from the ice. So, it was Ross who did this. I'll remember that. As the army reaches Hulk, he makes a giant leap, narrowly missing him as they reach up. Grab him! Oof! Ross shakes his fist. Come back, you blasted freak! One army man shoots up at Hulk. We're too late. Hulk's already jumped away to safety. Rick's running in the same direction and thinks, phew, that was a narrow one. Now, I'd better hustle to our hideout. The Hulk will blow his top if I ain't there waiting for him. But fast as Rick Jones can run, he's no match for the Incredible Hulk. Once he makes it to the entrance of the cave, here's the place. But the Hulk must have beat me by a mile. He walks in. He's probably waiting in the underwater dungeon for me to help him work that machine ray of his so as he can turn back to Bruce Banner. Once he gets there, he sees Hulk already standing on the platform. There he is, but Hulk puts up a hand to stop him in his tracks. Stay back. The Hulk waits for no one, least of all a teenaged brat. He presses a button with his foot. I can work this ray just by stepping on the control buttons beneath my feet. Bah, I hate giving up my power. My strength, just to return to the dull, ordinary human form of... The beam hits him, turns him back. He finishes his sentence, Bruce Banner. Minutes later, we see Bruce clad in a robe resting in a chair. Rick hands him his glasses. Take it easy, Bruce. You must be feeling weak as usual after your change. Bruce responds, I am, Rick. But there is one thing worrying me. One thing that I fear. He puts on his glasses and stands up. Each time I become the Hulk, I grow more and more unwilling to return to my normal self. That's why I need you, lad. You must never let me remain the Hulk. Not if you can help it. Understanding the mission, Rick says, don't worry, Bruce. I understand. In a tiny Asian village in the Principality of Laza, thousands of miles away, events which are about to affect the amazing lives of the Hulk and Rick Jones are taking place. A man on a horse announces, Take to the hills, my brothers. General Fang approaches. Another man says, The hordes of General Fang, we are doomed. At a temple, a man bows to a man wearing a furry headdress. Oh, most honored High Lama, I am the bearer of dire news. The bloodthirsty scourge of Asia, General Fang, is leading his brutal hordes to Laza. The Lama replies, Alas, I feared this was only a matter of time before he plundered our helpless land. Another man in the foreground says, General Fang is the most brutal warlord since Genghis Khan. The first man continues talking to the Lama. What shall we do, most noble one? What is your command? Lama answers, We are not a warlike people. Our only hope is to appeal to the outside world for help, but I fear it will be too late. Even as the gentle High Lama speaks, the brutal hordes of General Fang grow closer to Laza, as the evil plunderers prepare to ravage the land. This includes multiple tanks and men with firearms. And at their head stands the most feared marauder of all, the cold-blooded General Fang. He's standing on a platform being carried by 6 men. Faster, my dogs. My patience wears thin. I am eager to strike. One of the men with a revolver adds, You heard the master. Lift your feet, worthless ones. Move. Thus does fate slowly, inexorably draw her web tighter and tighter. As Rick and Bruce are working in the underwater lab, the tableside radio goes off. Bulletin. An urgent plea for help has come from the tiny Principality of Laza. The hordes of General Fang are poised to attack. Bruce says, General Fang, if he isn't stopped, he'll plunge the world into war. The two race to the transformation room. Bruce continues while disrobing. He sneers at threats, warnings, sanctions. There's only one language he understands. The language of brute force. Rick asks, What you gonna do, Bruce? Once ready, he stands on the platform with buttons and presses one with his toe. I shall do nothing. As the ray hits him, he continues, I am merely one lone man, powerless to affect a demoniac General Fang. He starts physically changing. But there is another who is not powerless. Fully transformed now, it is time for the Hulk to live again. Rick's not sure, but Hulk, you're still only one guy. What can you do against a whole army? As he's sifting through a bookshelf, he answers, Shut up, you puny fool. Stay out of my hair while I look for something. He finds a book called Strange Myths and Legends. he tells the boy. Here it is. This book will help me demolish that creep and his whole crummy rat pack. Now call the airport and reserve a couple of seats headed east. Move, Rick thinks. He must be cracking up, but I gotta string along with him. Not long afterward, on a flight headed for the Orient, we see the two sitting on a plane like any other passengers. Hulk's in a trench coat, a scarf, and a fedora to disguise himself. He thinks, jet planes, big deal. I'll bet I can leap faster than this tub can fly. Holding a tray with cups of coffee, the stewardess asks the two, care for some refreshments, gentlemen? Rick thinks, gentlemen, it's a good thing she can't recognize who's sitting next to me. Suddenly, hitting an air pocket, the big plane lurches and the stewardess falls forward, and the platter of refreshments falling on the Hulk's lap. Hey, watch out with that hot coffee, you lame brain. She panics. Eek! It's the Hulk! Seconds later, before any of the startled passengers or crew can move a muscle, the emergency door flies open and Hulk jumps off with Rick on his back. Hang on, Squirt. We're close enough to Formosa to get there faster my way. By means of his incredible muscles, unlike those of any other living being on Earth, the Hulk lands on one tiny isle of Formosa and then, without stopping, springs to another, then another isle, until, Hulk says, this is it, Formosa. I'll stop here to get my bearings and then I'll be in Red China with my next leap. You still there, Peanut? Meanwhile, hiding under grass, a soldier radios his men. Attention, all units. The Hulk approaches, as we were warned. Rick answers Hulk, yeah, just barely. And so, when the Hulk lands, he's stopped. Before he can make another leap, he's surrounded by dozens of soldiers with barrels and even a rocket launcher pointed at him. Don't move, you are our prisoner. Unfazed, Hulk responds, you meathead, I'm on your side. I got no time to waste on those fleas. I'll blow them clear out of my way, like this. He takes a huge breath and blows. Whoosh! Bringing every bit of almost unlimited strength with which his massive body possesses into play. The Hulk's sudden outpouring of breath is like the blast of a dozen wind tunnels, and while it lasts, nothing human can stand in its way. Some men are sent flying and many are knocked down. Hulk leans forward and pulls up a giant rock from the ground. Rick warns, you stunned them for a second, but they're regrouping. They're attacking again. He replies, shut up, stupid. I got eyes, ain't I? We're getting out of here fast, and no one's gonna stop us. Using a thick slab of rock which he had torn from the earth as a shield, the most incredible creature of our age again springs into the sky. The soldiers shoot bullets that hit the slab. Pow, pow, pow. Bam, pow. Spang. Like an avenging thunderbolt, the awesome figure hurtles through the air until he reaches the shores of Red China. Coming their way in the distance are about 7 aircraft. Rick warns him. Look out, Hulk. Those red MiGs are coming at us. He meets up with and stops it in his tracks with his bare hands. Another flies into that one being held. Yeah, here's 2 less red fly buggies that'll ever bother anyone again. Rick explains, you push one against the other, wrecking them both. Hulk continues his pseudo-flight. Did you see the way those other crumbs took off when they saw what they were up against? That's what I'm gonna do to that General Fang of yours. Let's hope so, Hulk, because if you bit off more than you can chew, we're both goners. A short time later, in the wild mountains bordering Lhasa, the Hulk dons a strange furry outfit, as Rick garbs himself in an insulated suit as protection against the bitter cold. Hulk looks to be wearing a full-body polar bear suit sans a mask, and Rick is wearing a brown bear suit sans a mask and gloves. Hulk says, remember that book of legends I showed you? Well, you're looking at a living legend now. I'm gonna become the one thing those guys are scared stiff of. Rick responds, huh? What do you mean? He answers, ever hear the abominable snowman? Well, you're looking at him. I'm gonna climb up. Here are Fang's tanks. Wait till I grab a big tree and slow him down. He uses a tree pulled up to impale a line of tanks, causing them to crash into each other. Like this. One of the soldiers is squatting. Behold, it is the abominable one, the snowman. One of the men fleeing one of the battered tanks says, the abominable snowman, flee, flee. As the stunned tank crews scatter in fear, the Hulk sights an enemy listening post using sensitive electronic equipment. A second later, an ear-splitting roar from the strongest lungs on Earth pierces the still mountain air. Listening for something? Try this for size. He screams at it, causing it to explode. He then turns his attention to more soldiers. There's a few of them who I missed, but I don't want them to feel ignored. He slams his giant fists down. Bam! There. I'll give him a taste of a small earthquake. Look at the puny fleas jump. Minutes later, at a completely demoralized outpost, a frantic message is relayed to General Fang. It's true, Master. With our own eyes we have seen him. It is the abominable snowman. He has come to destroy us all. On the other end, one of his underlings says, Most mighty General Fang, we must turn back. We dare not risk the wrath of the abominable snow... Another soldier grabs him by the collar. Silence, dog. The general is about to speak. Without looking at them, he says, he dared to advise me to the firing squad with him. He turns to a desk with maps on it and points at other men moving equipment. As for the accursed snowman, I shall defeat him as easily as I defeated all others. Prepare my special projectors and the sound equipment. Faster, you swine, or you shall feel my wrath. A short time later, Hulk says, I guess I scared 'em all off by now. It'll be a pleasure to get out of this monkey suit. I'm roasting in it. Rick responds, Roasting? It's below freezing here. Hulk, look, over there. It isn't possible, but it looks like a living dragon. Hulk replies, Get out of my way, stupid. I'll find out if it's possible or not. There's a giant pink crawling dragon. Roar! Hulk leaps at the dragon, but, as Rick says, holy cow, he jumped right through it. On the other side of the dragon, Hulk adds, it's just some phony kind of 3D picture. Some cornball must be projecting it from somewhere. And just when I was looking forward to a real fight. But as the Hulk lands on the ground, he finds himself inside a strange electronically charged cage. Fang's men run to the cage. It worked! He fell into General Fang's trap, another says. But see, it is not the abominable snowman. Hulk gets up and raises his arms, presumably to make another leap. You crumbs. When I'm through with you, you'll wish I was a snowman. Ow! His arms become black and clouded in smoke. That's it. Put the electronic bars against the cage. The current will keep him captive. We see General Fang on the outside of the cage. So this is what Fang has caught. The one known to the West as the Hulk. After I've leveled Laza, I shall personally supervise your death, you brainless gargoyle. General Fang, standing in front of several missiles, orders his men. Now that the Hulk is helpless in my electronic cage, we shall proceed in the conquest of Laza. Fire the missiles. Let them feel the sting of Fang's full might. But even as the brutal hand clutches the firing switch, one lone figure steals silently towards him, unnoticed. Rick grabs 2 cables and thinks, all I gotta do is connect these 2 wires. He does, and the soldier is sent backwards in a flash of light. A short circuit. Rick runs to the controls, pulling a lever. There's one Joker who won't wake up for a few hours. Now to turn off the current, freeing the Hulk. Hulk pushes one of the electronic pillars. Snap it up, you clumsy brat. I'm itching to tackle that miserable Fang. Now free, Hulk readies himself. A half-dozen missiles got launched before the kid could free me. Well, all it'll take is one king-size leap from me. He does so, and as he leaps, he grabs the missiles. Got him. Meanwhile, unaware of the fact that the Hulk has stopped his missiles, General Fang proceeds with his brutal master plan. Mount up, you dogs. It is time for the hordes of General Fang to strike terror to those who were foolish enough to survive my missile attack. The dozens of men on their horses move forward. Vroom! On to Laza, another says. Death to those who defy us. A third says, Strike for the Master, for the glory of General Fang. But even the mightiest legions in the Orient are not prepared to cope with the mightiest threat of all, the fury of a fighting mad Hulk. Hulk has jumped up and is holding a missile with explosions lined up behind him. All I gotta do is drop these missiles in the right spot and... Now let's see those toy soldiers get across the chasm. Hulk has used the missiles to block the horsebound soldiers' path. But in General Fang, the Hulk has an equally determined and dangerous enemy. The gargoyle still lives, but he shall not stop me. Where my cavalry cannot ride, my paratroopers shall fly. Give the command. Moments later, the sky is darkened by the ominous billowing of countless chutes as Fang's warriors drop behind a newly formed chasm. But Fang and his minions are merely mortals, and they are reckoning with the most fearsome living creature of all time, the Incredible Hulk. He looks up with Rick behind him. Paratroopers, stay back, kiddo. I'm gonna give those lame brains a taste of something they'll never forget. All I gotta do is leap past the treetops fast enough to bend them back, like this. As he leaps at the trees, the group of them are pushed back, Hulk continues, and then I'll let him snap back again. This'll make a hurricane seem like a weak little breeze. Swish! And the Hulk's plan works. Under the driving force of the artificially created gale, the chutes hurl their wearers about like straws, causing them to fall back in dizzy confusion. Hulk lands from his leap and makes another, grabbing Rick as he goes. Come here, Sonny. We got no more time to play games. I'm gonna finish Fang off for good now. He responds, But you've already busted the back of his invasion force. What more do you want? Now off screen he answers, I want to prove that nobody messes around with the Hulk and gets away with it. Now clam up or I'll drop you like so much excess baggage. We see Fang in the passenger seat of a getaway car with a soldier looking back armed with a Tommy gun. Master, in the sky. It is the incredible monster. He pursues us. He only responds, faster, you vermin, faster. But suddenly, the Hulk lands behind General Fang, and Hulk says, I just noticed this here geyser. Why should I knock myself out chasing that rat when I can catch him easier this way? I'll just lift this oversized pebble and put it over the geyser like a cork. Now we'll settle back and watch the fireworks. Those meatheads don't suspect that the pressure of the geyser is building up right under the road. I figure Fang is in for a big surprise any second now. Meanwhile, the unaware Fang boasts, Ha! The Hulk no longer pursues us. I have outdistanced him. Fang is still victorious. But before the echo of Fang's boastful words can pass away, the very earth beneath his car erupts in a cyclonic fury. The car is in the air. The men, not wearing seatbelts, are sent skyward. Fang asks, help! The driver pleads, save me! Save your master! Hulk swoops in, grabbing Fang. Don't worry, loudmouth, I'll save you. I've got other plans for you. Then, in one of his mightiest leaps, with both Rick Jones and the evil Fang in his arms, the Incredible Hulk springs clear across the China Sea to the coast of Formosa. Astonished, Rick says, Hulk, you made it! Hulk responds, big deal. If I wasn't tired from all that running around, I'd really show you a jump. He drops Fang in tall grass, who protests. Wait, come back! You can't leave me here, not here, unprotected, in the midst of my most deadly enemies. In the air, Hulk answers his pleas. You yellow pipsqueak, you ain't important enough for me to finish off, so I'll let you worry a while until they catch you and put an end to your misery. To Rick, hang on, pest, I'm gonna head for the first ship going west. And so we take our leave for the once dreaded General Fang, now no more than a whimpering, fearful fugitive, trembling as he wonders if each moment is destined to be his last. We see soldiers searching the area. One says, keep searching, men. According to our radar, they landed someplace in this area. It's now nighttime and Fang, in tattered clothes, curses Hulk while he's walking toward a small house. My men, my dreams, my ambitions, gone, shattered, taken from me in a nightmarish few hours by the accursed Hulk. He can't be human. Nothing human could have beaten me. But where will he strike next? Is any living being safe from that man-monster? Is any human being safe indeed? Who can say where the Hulk will strike next, or against whom? Thousands of miles away, days later, we see Rick and Hulk in their underwater cave. Rick says, phew, safe at last. Hulk responds, don't kid yourself. Nobody's safe. What do you mean, Hulk? He answers, I mean that you and the rest of the weakling human race will be safe when there ain't no more Hulk. And I'm planning on being around for a long, long time. The end. After the break, we'll go over some thoughts and feelings about the issue.
What's happening to me?
My darling boy, my Bruce. Don't be afraid. Scientists aren't supposed to fear evolution.
First off, this issue is full of words and phrases that the layman today wouldn't understand. I think it goes to show how language changes over time. Someone from the 60s probably wouldn't know what lock-in means unless you say it as if they were locked in to a task. It's funny that General Ross has employed Bruce himself to try to capture the Hulk. That lets them stay ahead of Ross in that respect. In doing so, Bruce can suggest something smart sounding, but ultimately ineffective as a measure to try to capture the Hulk. The whole concept of the Hulk isn't exactly grounded in reality, but with the introduction of Tyrannus, the Fountain of Youth, and Merlin the Magician, we're adding otherworldly aspects to the world. Tyrannus' method of surveilling the world is definitely impressive because he can project himself basically anywhere. Even though Bruce, and by extension the Hulk, was right about Tyrannus, it is fun to see him jealous that Betty was spending time with the latter. It was pretty cool to see Hulk fight in an arena. Of course, being such an early story, he wins pretty easily, but this definitely influenced the later stories like Planet Hulk with his gladiator armor look. I appreciate seeing ongoing themes and stories like how General Ross wanted to use ice to capture the Hulk. He ultimately just got out of it by nature of being radioactive, so it turned out to be kind of useless, but he's kind of going out there and thinking of things more creative to try to capture the Hulk. I see they want to put Hulk in various different locations, and just jump flying would take up too much time, so they've been having him and Rick fly on planes. Arguably, we can just say skip to when they arrived, and maybe they'll do that in later stories. It's a little silly for the Hulk to dress up as the abominable snowman, but hey, it worked. Hulk's been able to once again use his enhanced physicality to take care of problems. He jumped to grab a missile and then throw it down and use those explosions to stop an army from moving. You don't have to fight an army if they can't reach you. In part 1, they magically do away with any progression Betty has made in liking the Hulk by saying, oh, I guess she got amnesia somehow. Feels a little lazy. At the end of the other story, when General Fang is cursing Hulk and walking towards what looks like a tiny house in the distance, implies, at least to me, that this may not be the last we see of him. What do you think? Did you read the comic? Did I get something wrong? If I do, and you guys let me know, I'll include a correction section in the next episode and I'll credit the user. Let's continue the discussion on social media and the YouTube VOD. You can find me at ManjameThunder on Twitter and at Team_Thunder on YouTube. If you're looking for another podcast to listen to and you're a fan of the Spider-Verse, check out Accelerated Visions, a Spider-Man 2099 podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find podcasts. If DC is more your thing and you want to hear about Aquaman, King of the Seven Seas, check out Water Damage, an Aquaman podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find podcasts. Be sure to follow that and this podcast to get episodes as soon as they drop. Manjame out.
What time up mean?